Hello, I'm Reverend Karen Davis of First Christian Church. Some days as we're going through life, there are lots of challenges. Seems like storms, figuratively speaking, surround us, and it can become very overwhelming. We feel like we are sinking, that the storms around us are swallowing us up. Well, the good news for us is that in the midst of those storms, we're not alone. That God seeks to walk with us, to comfort us, to guide us, to encourage us, to help us stay afloat. That just as we imagine floating on that water, we can imagine God's loving arms coming around us and supporting us, sustaining us in the midst of those storms. Doesn't mean we won't still get wet, but it means that we will make it through those very storms and stay afloat. This week we are reflecting on the Gospel of Mark chapter 4 verses 35 through 41. There we read about Jesus going to the other side of the lake with the disciples, and as they were in the boat, Jesus was taking a nap, probably after a busy day of responding to people's requests and speaking to the crowd. And the disciples wake him up because they're concerned about the storm and how the water is coming into the boat. We're told that by Mark's gospel that Jesus wakes up and calms the storm. And they are able to go forth from there, not being consumed by the water that is surrounding them. They are able to stay afloat. We too can stay afloat when we rely upon God's power and presence to sustain us in the midst of our challenges, in the midst of our storms. So I invite you this week to read that passage from Mark's Gospel and to think about your own life. What storms are you facing, or have you faced, or are you anticipating in the future? And how can you rely upon God's power and presence, the support of the faith community around you, family and friends, to be there to hold you up and sustain you, to keep you afloat, to get you through those difficult times? I invite you to rely upon all that God has provided to you through resources, through people, through science, through a multiplicity of avenues that God has reached out to you to offer you comfort and support and guidance, to rely upon those things and to find your way through. May you find yourself this week staying afloat with God's love and God's compassion, and may God continue to help you make it through life's storms.